There we go. Know y'all can hear me now. Yeah. There you go. Know y'all can hear me now. I don't know why my don't automatically set like that, but I don't know why it don't automatically set. But we finna go ahead and jump straight into the vid. Like I got a good one for y'all. This going yeah. Y'all familiar with them Bloodhound boys? Y'all know them Bloodhounds.
I'm taking just a killing school. Class start next week. You gotta at least have 2 bodies though.
Hear that? That's not just rap talk. That was
Hey, on the rip, he taking niggas to killing school. You got, hey, RP that man. What he say? Run that back.
I'm taking just a killing school. Class start next week. You gotta at least have 2 bodies though.
Hear that? That's not just rap talk.
Professor.
That was Lil Jeff.
Man, I miss your class and shit. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to, you feel me? I wanted to sign up. Not because I need to know how to, unalive people. I just wanted to know what your class was gonna be about. Well, not that part, because I know what it's gonna be about. I just wanted to sit and observe, Mr. Lil Jeff. RP, sir.
Live and unfiltered, setting the entrance requirements for his so-called killing school. From openly bragging about bodies in his diss track FTO to mocking fallen rivals with zero remorse, his reputation as one of the most ruthless figures in the streets only grew. This was a man who turned violence into entertainment, laughing about real-life murders on Instagram like it was just another joke. And if that wasn't enough, he took it a step further, gunning down 2 high school students and still finding a way to joke about it online. Cold-blooded, unfiltered, absolutely savage. These are Lil Jeff's most savage.
They say he killed 2 high school students? What grade was he in? He killed 2 high school students? Was he in school when he did it, or was he out? Like, I ain't trolling. Like, I dead ass want to know. Like, was he in school when he got them hats with them, or was he out of school? Like, did he all like? I don't know.
Moments. Murders. Lil Gutta in a targeted hit. Lil Jeff lived by one rule: strike first and make it brutal. Of all the things he did, this was among the most ruthless. A broad daylight execution, carried out without hesitation. No mask, no fear, just a clear message to the streets. If you cross Lil Jeff, there's no warning, just bullets. This guy was not the type to let things slide. When someone from his side got killed, he made sure there was payback. And on May 13th, 2021, he did exactly that. It was a regular afternoon near East 79th Street in Chicago. The streets were busy. Cars rolled by, people stood around talking, and shops had customers going in and out. Nobody knew that a killing was about to happen. Lil Jeff had been watching Lil Gutta, real name Ronnie L. Sistrunk Jr., for a while. Gutta was moving like he had no enemies, walking through the city without a care. But his name had already been linked to Cruz murder a month earlier, and that was a serious problem. Whether Gutta had actually been involved didn't matter. What mattered was that Jeff believed he was. Jeff waited for the right moment. He wasn't the type to rush things. Gutta had just come out of a store, checking his phone, completely unaware of what was coming. Jeff moved in quickly. No words, no warnings. Bang! The first shot hit Gutta in the chest. His body jerked, and his phone fell from his hand. Before he could react, another shot, then another. Each one meant to make sure he wasn't getting back up. People screamed, some ducked, others ran. Jeff didn't stick around. He walked off, blending into the crowd like nothing had happened. By the time police arrived, Gutta was already dead. Witnesses had seen what happened, but no one was willing to talk. The streets knew who was responsible, but no one wanted to be next. A daytime hit was already a moment that had the streets whispering. But Jeff didn't just stop there. He took his savagery to the mic and turned 7 bodies into lyrics. Boasts about killing 7 people in FTO. The drill scene had always been filled with bold lyrics and street talk, but in March 2024, a song dropped that had people questioning whether the words were just music or real confessions. The track was called FTO, and as soon as it hit the streets, it became one of the most talked about songs that year. Lil Jeff and Vert had been teasing the release for weeks. When it finally dropped, the energy was violent, raw, and reckless. The lyrics had no filter. Jeff rapped about taking 7 lives, bragging like it was just another achievement. The way he delivered it was too specific.
7? I heard this somewhere. I think I read it somewhere. Like, if you kill more than like 2 people or 3, something like that, it's either 2 or 3. Like, that makes you a serial killer. So this man has 7? 7? Like, so far? 7? Don't mean nobody's scared of you, but 7? I ain't gonna hold you. You gonna be with a nigga that got 7 hats? Or you gonna take your tail up running? Alright. He bleed like I bleed though. 7 though? Sheesh. Hey.
Too detailed, making people wonder if he had really done everything he claimed. But one part of the song stood out more than anything else. Jeff called out Leal by name, mocking his death with the line, "Leal dumb in a pack, we smoking." It wasn't just a disrespectful line, it was a direct celebration of someone's murder. That was not the only part that got people talking. Another verse mentioned how his old friends, whom he used to be cool with, have now become his ops. He also mentioned how his crew had shot so much on Rhodes Avenue that their enemies had to shut down their drug spots. If true, this meant his side had not just taken lives, but also taken over entire trap operations, forcing their rivals to leave the area. The song spread fast.
Hey, shutting down the trap is crazy. You telling me them boys was spending so much they had to shut down the trap? They had to relocate? Hey, y'all must ain't never heard of U-Haul gang. So, boy, hey, them niggas move some shit.
It was played in cars, blasted at parties, and debated in drill forums. People argued about whether Jeff's claims were exaggerated or if he had really dropped 7 bodies. No matter what the truth was, one thing was clear. Jeff had no fear of what he said or who heard it. His reputation for self-snitching was already growing, but FTO took it to another level. Now, was Jeff exaggerating his numbers, or was he really keeping score? That question didn't last long, because his next moment made it clear that when Jeff rapped about murder, it wasn't fiction. Gets revenge for Z-Money by killing Lil Pooh. Lil Jeff had been waiting for the right time, and when the moment came, he made sure it was merciless. Z-Money's death had left a wound that only blood could close, and in March 2023, Jeff set his sights on Lil Pooh. Pooh, real name Pierre Boozer Jr., had been moving around. Like nothing had changed. He still showed up in familiar places, still laughed with his people, still acted as if his name wasn't being whispered in the streets. But Jeff had already decided that Pooh wasn't going to see the summer. The plan was set in motion days before. Jeff didn't move sloppy. He didn't just roll up and start shooting. Instead, he let Pooh's own routine work against him. He sent word through mutuals, spreading talk that a certain block was safe again, knowing Pooh would hear it. Pooh took the bait, showing up like nothing was wrong. That night, the trap was set. Pooh pulled into the driveway of his home, the place he always returned to after a long day. He stepped out of his car, nodding at someone he recognized. The night was quiet, with only the distant hum of the city in the background. Everything seemed normal. Then the lights in the lot flickered. A small moment, barely noticeable. But in that second of distraction, a figure moved out of the shadows. The first shot hit Pooh's leg. He dropped to the ground, grabbing his knee, trying to crawl toward his home. He didn't make it. More shots followed, fast and unrelenting. The last one hit him in the back of the head, leaving him face down on the pavement. A car engine roared, tires screeched.
I ain't gonna hold you. Them boys baked that cake. Them boys were waiting for Lil Pooh. Them boys baked that cake, bro. It's like when you in the streets, like when you doing street activities, sometimes you lose sight of like people may be watching you, people may be plotting on you. Sometimes you get used to your routine. Like you just used to doing the same shit, the same, you feel me? The same ones and twos. Hey, but it ain't shit wrong with switching it up, man. Like, yeah, the whole time you ain't gotta fuck with everybody. Everybody ain't gotta know where you stay at. Like, how you think they knew where he stayed at? Like, where he stayed at? Like, how? Somebody had to tell him. Like, they ain't just following him if they was waiting at his crib, you know?
Reached, and the shooter was gone. Witnesses stood frozen, and when the police arrived, nobody had seen a thing, but the streets knew. A year later, Jeff made sure the message was clear when he left a comment on an Instagram post about Pooh, confirming the motive. Disrespecting Z Money came with consequences. Then came the leaked song, days before Jeff's own death. He rapped about hiding in the grass, waiting to strike, describing the exact way Pooh had been caught. After taking out Lil Pooh, most would have laid low, but Jeff, he wasn't done proving himself. His next moment came fast, and this time bullets were flying from a moving car. Orders a drive-by on Black. Lil Jeff had made a lot of enemies, and when things got serious, he did not hesitate to remove them. In March 2022, the streets started buzzing about a drive-by shooting in Chatham. The target was Roger Lewis, known as Black, a 33-year-old OG who had been well respected in his area. Black had been standing outside.
This nigga killing unalive and grown niggas? The man say he was 33. Jeff wasn't nowhere near 30. He was down there like, shit, nowhere near 30.
At his house that evening, he was talking with someone, not paying attention to the street, unaware that a car had been rolling by slowly. The people inside were watching him closely, waiting for the right moment. The driver kept steady, and the backseat window was slightly open. As the car crept closer, there was a brief pause. Then the sound of rapid gunfire filled the air. Black barely had time to react. He tried to turn, but bullets had already ripped through him. His body dropped near the sidewalk as the car sped off, disappearing down the street before anyone could get a good look at it. The neighborhood fell silent for a moment. A few people ducked inside their houses. Others peeked out, already knowing there was nothing they could do. By the time the police arrived, Black was gone. A month later, a man named Trayvon Dix was arrested in connection to the shooting. But even after his arrest, people kept talking. Many believed Jeff had ordered the hit. The tension between his crew and Black's people had been getting worse, and this felt like a move to settle things. Jeff never addressed the rumors, but he did what he always did. He let his music do the talking. A few weeks later, he dropped a song with lyrics that made people wonder. He mentioned how some older guys think they run things until they get caught standing outside at the wrong time. A drive-by was already a wild moment, but Jeff had a habit of outdoing himself. When two bodies dropped on the same night, the streets knew. This wasn't just war, it was domination. Orchestrates a double murder. Lil Jeff had been involved in a lot of street.
Hey, them boys was on that. Them boys was on that. Like, is y'all peeping what I'm peeping? Like, them boys was on that. Like, they stamping. Like, they is stamping. Like, them boys is on that, y'all. Yeah. All right, now.
Street violence, but November 1st, 2023 stood out as one of his most ruthless moments. Two people lost their lives that night in what many believed was a planned execution. The targets were Denardo Buford, known as Lil Deuce, and Desiree McGee, known as D Money.
Hey, RP, I don't mean to laugh, but your last name was Buford? Damn, my fault, RP.
The two friends had been sitting in a parked car on South Dorchester Avenue, probably thinking it was just another night. They might have been talking, scrolling through their phones, or just passing time. They had no idea they were being watched. A black SUV had been circling the area. It passed by once, then again, moving slowly. No one inside the car made any sudden moves. They were waiting for the right moment. Then it happened. The SUV stopped a few feet away. The doors swung open, and before anyone could react, gunmen stepped out and opened fire. Glass shattered. Bullets ripped through metal and flesh. Little Ema never had a chance to escape. The attack was over in seconds, but the damage was done. By the time the shooters got back into the SUV and sped off, both victims were critically wounded. They were rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but it was too late. Neither of them survived. The police arrived quickly, finding multiple shell casings scattered around the scene. But as always, no one was willing to talk. The case remained open, and no charges were ever filed against Jeff. Still, the streets had their own way of confirming things. In March 2024, Jeff posted a cryptic Instagram story. It was simple, just a few emojis, but people knew what it meant. The message seemed to be a list of names, and one of them was clearly linked to D Money's murder. You'd think after a double murder, Jeff would want to keep quiet, but no. His next moment was in the studio, rapping about his victims with details only the killer could know. Admits to murder in his song, Ah. By early 2024, Lil Jeff's name was already tied to countless street rumors. But when he dropped Ah in February, the conversation took a turn. It wasn't just another drill track full of threats and tough talk. This one felt like a confession. The beat was dark, the flow was aggressive, but it was the lyrics that made people stop and listen. In one chilling line, Jeff described a victim screaming before taking his last breath. The way he rapped it, like he was reliving the moment, made people immediately connect it to the murders of Monty and Lil Rob. For those who remembered how the two were killed, the details were too accurate to ignore.
I ain't gonna hold you, man. Hey, them boy was a problem. Ain't gonna hold you. Them boy was a problem, man. That would have seemed like that would like seemed like them boy was a problem, guy. Like on some real tip.
To ignore. Monty had been left gasping for air on the sidewalk, and Lil Rob's final moments were eerily similar to what
Oh no, my damn sound went out.
Jeff was rapping about. With
That's wild. Them boy was a problem though, chat. Like they doing shit like that. That boy won't
and listen. In one chilling line, Jeff described the victim screaming before taking his last breath. The way he rapped it, like he
my damn
like
sound went out. It's crazy.
early 20,
Nah, boy, it just went out. All right, chat. We gonna be back with a part two.